chairwoman of the Strategic Long Range Planning and Facilities Committee meeting. I'd like to call on the superintendent to call roll for this committee.
Ms. LeBoux?
Present.
Mr. Zarmo?
Here.
Mr. Edmond? Present. Ms. Mason?
Here.
You have a quorum?
Great, thank you very much. So per our agenda, our first item is 2.1, chair remarks. So today we are convened at LJ Alamo Middle School, a place that I know is near and dear to many of our committee members and staff, as we all have personal connections, either as former teachers, administration, alumni, or as parents of children who attended this. Allison Champagne and assistant principals Jean Mott and Tori Landry and their team for arranging today's tour and for providing very valuable insights into the current state of the facility, which we will discuss in depth. And also to Christy Guidry, as always, for wrangling all the changes that we request to accommodate the meetings outside of our school board boardroom. As with all of our long-range planning and committee meetings, at 11:30 a.m. we convene and take a tour of a school site facility that is on the board's current renovation or replacement list, or schools that the board members propose be added to that list. And at 12:05 we begin this meeting, or as close to 12:05 as we can, depending on the tour. Our agendas always include a review of our tour, as well as discussions on several key topics concerning LPSS, and then we vote on recommendations to bring to the full board. Both the tour and the meeting are open to the public, and usually these meetings are live streamed if the facility can accommodate that. And so everybody is welcome. As background, LJ Alamo Middle School was completed in 1959. It underwent significant expansion with additional construction in 1980, a new cafetorium in 2016, and a new wing in 2021. And based on the fact that it was built in 1959, it had to be retrofitted for the most part in the existing facility for air conditioning, which causes a whole host of problems, which we'll discuss. The school honors Professor Linnes Joseph Alamo. He's a distinguished educator who served as the head of the Department of Education at what is now Northwestern Louisiana University. In 1901, he became the superintendent of education in Lafayette Parish. He was the first college-trained parish superintendent in Louisiana. And from 1901 to 1907, he served his first term as superintendent, and then again from 1912 to 1918. The school was named after him to mark his progressive initiatives, including the introduction of Louisiana's first school transportation system using horse-drawn wagons and the promotion of school consolidation. He also pioneered the teaching of agriculture and home economics for boys and girls. 100 years later from those horse-drawn wagons, we finally have air-conditioned school buses. He was appointed head of the Department of Education in 1922, retired in 1942, and he passed away in 1944. So I just want everybody to know who the school was named for. And it was named in his honor to commemorate his substantial contributions to education in Lafayette Parish. Before we proceed, I want to acknowledge and thank the diverse group of stakeholders who participated in our recent July town halls led by Civic Solutions Group, held on July 17th at Acadiana High School and Northside High School, and as well as July 18th at Southside High School. For those who are not aware, Civic Solutions Group is the consultant that Lafayette Parish School System hired to spearhead the district optimization process for Lafayette Parish. Civic Solutions Group is conducting a thorough evaluation of all of the schools in our parish to ensure that taxpayer dollars are invested in areas that best address current student and community needs. A crucial component of this process is community engagement, and so additional opportunities for feedback will be provided in a second round of town hall sessions scheduled for the fall. We encourage public participation, and the feedback and engagement are crucial in shaping the future of our district. Please note that another round of community feedback sessions is scheduled or is going to be scheduled for the fall with dates to be announced soon. So check the LPSS website. We have a whole page devoted to long-range planning. And we encourage your participation in these meetings. Additionally, you can share your feedback or direct any questions to an email, which is districtplanning@lpssonline.com, or you can email me directly at the letter K, the letter B, LABUE@lpssonline.com. Superintendent Touchette will provide an update on the work being done by the Facilities and Maintenance Department and our strategic planning partners from Civic Solutions Group, who I stated was assisting with our long-range planning. As we discussed, today we'll review the current facility project list and make recommendations accordingly. And we will discuss the location for our next meeting and finalize our plans. And we just again encourage active participation from the public. It's essential to our success that you share your observations and suggestions so that together we can make well-informed decisions that will benefit our students, staff, and broader Lafayette Parish community. Thank you. Item 2.2 is staff remarks. Superintendent Touchette.
Thank you, Mr. Blue. First of all, the district optimization process is underway, as Mr. Blue stated. One of the things that we want to make sure that the public, along with the audience, is aware is that the survey concludes this Friday. There was a district-wide survey that kind of got feedback, and it's going to end this Friday. So we just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. As Ms. LeBou stated, we actually have concluded the 3 different town hall meetings in which we went to Southside, Northside, and Acadiana. The other thing to let everyone aware is that we are creating a community advisory panel that is made up of recommendations from the board and recommendations from staff, so that we could actually have a panel that will kind of just help with the process. And lastly, but not least, there will be a presentation by Civic Solutions Group on August 21st. So that is some of our updates as far as district optimization process. The second thing that I want to address to everyone is that we are in the presence of kids coming back to school tomorrow, to where we have a staggered start as far as elementary, middle, and high. For the most part, all of our elementary students will be back in school full-time on Friday. All of our junior and middle schools, everyone will be back on Monday, and the entire district will be back on Monday. We ask that, again, everyone be patient. Our maintenance department is working fiercely around trying to make sure that all of these summer projects are being concluded. We're making sure that we give a really good impression as far as what they have actually done as far as preparing kids for this upcoming year. I want to thank Mr. Gautreaux and his entire staff for what they are doing and what they have actually accomplished throughout the summer. And again, we have a lot further to go, and it's something that we strive to get better at. And I just want you to know that what we just saw for ourselves, we can do better. And I say that you know, as a superintendent that has walked through these halls for the last 6 years, I've always said we can do better, and we should do better for the kids that are here and the kids that are becoming here. So that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Superintendent. Item 2.3 is the approval of the agenda for this meeting. So if you would review it, and give a motion if you approve.
Motion to approve.
1 second.
A motion by Ms. Mason, second by Mr. DeSarmo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, any public comment? Thank you. All right, item 2.4 is, item 2.4 is a review and approval of the Facilities Long Range Planning Committee meeting minutes from June 4th of 2024. If you would take a minute to review those meeting minutes, and then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Zarmo, second by Mr. Edmond. Any public comment? Any committee member comment, board comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. All right. Item 2.5 is a discussion and review of the tour by the committee of LJ Alma Middle School. And this is an open discussion, so it can be, I'll allow the committee members to give their information first, and then we'll allow the public, if anybody's here, wants to speak up on what they saw on the tour, and then entertain any motions that the committee wants to make as a result of the review. So Ms. Mason, would you like to go first?
I grew up at this school, so I very well know I'd love to hear an outside perspective. So if Chad and Josh wouldn't mind going first.
Yeah.
Give me your observations.
Yeah, I'll go
Mr.
first.
Zarmo.
You know, two of my kids went here. One graduating. She's going to be a senior. One graduated last year. They absolutely love the school, the school itself. I guess I never really toured and seen some of the stuff that we've seen today. But for a school that has loved and embrace the way this school is, to have some of the things that our kids have to fight through, and our teachers, it's just not acceptable. Sometimes we have to do what we have to do, but when we can fix it, we need to fix it. And it's not one of those things where you can just spend 15, 20 minutes fixing something. This is a rebuild. This is something that we need to do to make sure our schools are, up to standard. And for a school that is as popular as this, over 900 students, I think it's time that we consider doing a replacement here. Then the problem's gonna be, do we want more students, do we wanna build it bigger? Because there's a waiting list still for this school. So it's just one of those things where we want to keep them in public schools. So let's give them a reason to stay. This facility definitely needs to be rebuilt. And then we decide how big we wanna build a new facility. And however many we can keep here, that's less that goes to the charter schools.
Ms. Redden?
Oh, man. I'm gonna be honest. I want to know why this school wasn't up on the rebuild list a long time ago.
So originally it was, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Originally it was, and then the 2 boards ago, it was taken off. And I was only on the last board, so I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. We can continue.
Every school we've been to since we've been doing this long-term planning committee, this is by far, and not to be ugly, the worst one we see. The worst one we see.
Structurally.
Not structurally, but just by
Just in
scent,
general, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
By scent, And me being in construction and at UL, some things I've seen that we need immediate assistance on. Like that light that's attached to a duct in that first area. That's a safety issue. Bad safety issue. So that should be addressed even until we decide what we're gonna do with this building, because anything can happen with that. And molded ceiling tile, the restroom doors not ADA compliant, the faucets in the sinks are too low for the kids, I got 6th graders and 7th graders in my neighborhood that's big as me, so that's a long task to go that low to use the restroom.
Yeah. They were at your knees.
Right.
Yeah.
Below my knees. And one more important factor that I want to state is that the doors are not latching. I learned in Phoenix that a door has 2 jobs. There's the closing and the latching. There's the responsibility of a door. And almost every door is not doing that. Just to go around, just to make safety, to pull it on the doors every day, that's a job by itself.
Yeah.
And then nurse's office. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So.
And then, like you said, it's the smell. There's 2 or 3 buildings that we went in. As soon as you open the door,
it hits you in the face.
it hits you in the face.
Yeah.
It's in the face.
And our kids have to go through that and study and pay attention in class.
Sit in there all day. So that's my observations. And if there's a vote to rebuild, I'm on it. I'm on
I guess a nice way to put it, this school has a lot of history that has been preserved or just left to rot. To keep financials in an old freezer with no lights is unacceptable. I don't think anyone in Lafayette Parish would expect our staff to go in somewhere with a flashlight or walk by chemicals in a hallway, and especially not have our children walking by janitor equipment that should be stored, but there is no room to store it on this campus. We've had so many work orders for painting and that sort of thing, and that's been done, but the mold comes right back through. We have plywood walls in this school. I don't understand the politics behind taking this school off the rebuild list, and during my last term, were hit with the pandemic and was constantly told that Alamo would not be rebuilt ever. So I hope that this term we can get that done, because this is the most embarrassing school for the entire Lafayette Parish. And there's no one person to blame for that, but now that we all know it, we can't ignore it. So I hope that in the future we can realize that you rank the schools 1 to 47, we're 47 here in
Yeah.
terms of facilities. So it needs to be replaced.
We have top 5 in academics, but 7 in.
We have our most popular middle school
Right.
and our worst facility.
Right.
So it's unfair.
Don't match.
And everyone from all over the parish comes here. This is not a neighborhood school at all
When
anymore.
Karen grew, my 2 kids came here.
I've imagined
Yes.
it both ways. They were open.
Yes,
I
they
remember
were
playing
not.
jacks,
Correct.
and we'd sit in the shade under and play jacks, and the wind would come through, and it felt so good because it was hot. But then they enclosed them, which everyone at the time, I remember, they must have enclosed them the next year because I remember everyone saying, "Oh, this is great. It's going to be air conditioned." But now we just have created a little, what's it called? The terrariums? Where are those little things where you
Terrariums.
Terrariums. We have created terrariums and we are growing mold and plants and everything on the inside of our buildings. So it's not acceptable.
Yeah, you know, I think it's, my daughter here was here roughly 7 years ago, 7 years ago, 7 to 10 years. And I can tell you that it looks, the painting, the brightness and the lights and the painting are great, but with the brightness and the lights, you now see the mold. You see the, just the myriad of issues our teachers are facing. There's a bucket in every breezeway to catch the water because the retrofitting of the air conditioner, all of them are leaking. And again, we just saw some equipment that was stored over the summer is covered in mold. So equipment that our kids, that we're spending money on to provide for our kids can't even be stored in a way that can prevent it from being molded in this building. It's so funny when people celebrate the tearing down of the portable buildings. When I tell you every year we prayed that my daughter would get classrooms in portable buildings because they were actually the better classrooms. You know, we've done a phenomenal job of creating a cafetorium in 2016. That's beautiful. And that new wing in 2021 is beautiful. But only 6th and 7th grade get to use the new wing. And our 8th graders, our special ed, our magnet academies, which are the people coming in from all over the parish, are being housed in the portions of the building that were built in 1959 and the most disgusting part of the school. And I don't think anybody can say that the additions that they've done have been great. The administration here is phenomenal. The culture of the school is phenomenal. We have a waiting list for middle school, which does not happen. And we have a chance to really, we're giving our kids a crucial piece of education. You know, in the arts is such an enhancement to their education. But we're doing it, people are gonna turn away from it if the facility continues to deteriorate the way it is. So, for me, it's a no-brainer, and I'm glad to hear that you're saying it too, that we need to replace the original facility, to bring it up to code, to bring it up to safety, to give our teachers and administration a decent lounge, teacher's lounge that doesn't smell, ways to store items that isn't hazardous or unsafe. You know, I just think there's so many reasons why the original facility needs to be torn down. I don't know what we can do, except I would suggest that we vote to put it at the top of the replacement list. Because I think there's nobody that would say that this isn't our worst facility, and I agree with you. Out of 47 schools, this is the worst.
I'll second that. I'd put it up. I can see us putting it at the top.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that would be considered a replacement or a renovation, because again, we do have a new wing, we do have a new cafetorium, so if the superintendent can weigh in on whether we would consider that a replacement or a
So just want to make sure
renovation.
clarity for our team. So again, we built a new wing and we have a new cafeteria.
Right.
Okay. So we're not talking about replacing that. We're
Correct.
saying that
Correct.
stays, but everything else goes.
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
And I was just talking to Ms. Champagne before that, you know, again, when we talk about library, we talk about classrooms, we talk about a gymnasium. I mean, we're gonna probably need to kind of look at what that scope looks like and kind of start getting some estimates of what this may look like as far as replacement is concerned. And are y'all in agreement that maybe when because we're gonna need to still have a place for kids to go.
Right.
But construction, maybe we relocate where the entrance is, make sure that we try to salvage what's going on as far as parking, and then we reroute people on some of the things that we have as far as land is concerned. So if y'all want, I can get our team to start getting with Ms. Champagne, we can get an inventory of things, we can start getting a cost estimate, and we can kind of start saying, hey, it's gonna take this amount of money, and y'all just say, hey, go back to work and go find it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. I'm on board with that.
But again, would that be considered a replacement or a renovation when it's that majority? I don't know what percentage of the existing facility is the library, the administration.
I think it's renovations, but it's renovation, I think you need to put it as renovation and making sure that all of the old stuff is part of, we're getting that old, that, we have to
Yes.
replace the whole thing.
I guess I would call it maybe a rebuild. So it's I don't know. There may not be a word to describe what we're trying to do.
But you wanna make sure you're inclusive, that everything that was here in the past, as far as old buildings,
Yes.
we are replacing
Yes.
that.
Replacing the original facility, not the cafetorium and not the 28 new classrooms on. is it
Why don't you
20?
say rebuild excluding the
Yes.
cafetorium and the new wing?
So I think we need to make the motion to.
I don't think we need to rebuild the bomb shelter. There's like
Yeah.
a fallout
Yeah.
shelter.
The fallout shelter.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Where is
I
it?
think that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So don't need that, hopefully. So we should include the rebuild or renovation.
Renovation. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to move LJ Alamon to the top of the replacement list, but to preserve the cafetorium and the
Wing addition.
new wing addition.
Second, okay, motion by Ms. Mason, second by Mr. Edmond. Any public comment? All right, any board comment?
I think it's the right move. Where we stand today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we can make arguments for every school, but this one's, it's actually a health hazard and a regular hazard, it's just time.
Yep. But this has always been the most popular school, but we're not gonna get we're not gonna get teachers
Right.
I think
here
yeah.
without us showing them that we care enough to have them teach
Yeah.
in a safe facility.
I think that the way that we plan to do this will be difficult in terms of how do we keep school going while building the new
Right.
school.
Mhm.
I think looking at the Lafayette High plan where we were able to, we saved, I think, just under $2 million by having the kids continue to go into school while we build the other facility. So if we could come up with a similar plan, because I know our budget is tight. Because I'd hate to have to reroute all of these children somewhere else.
Right.
Ms. Gardner?
Ms. Mason, the original plan, the cafeteria, I'm Jennifer Gardner, Assistant Superintendent.
And former
And
principal.
former principal.
Yes.
The original plan when the cafetorium was built and then the new wing was added, which I'm left in the planning of it, it was designed to where the rest of the school would be rebuilt on the other side, so school could maintain, would not have to relocate the children to where they could rebuild everything that wasn't already replaced, the new cafeteria or the new wing. It was designed to be built on the other
So you
side.
can leave
So
old
the other
building
side
alone.
being the side closest to West Bayou
The
Parkway?
cafeteria, yes. ma'am.
Yes.
So you can leave the old building alone.
That way school, it was the dividing
Building.
line to where school could still function, but you could build and tear down later.
Okay, great. I like that plan. And how much acreage do we have right here?
16.75 acres.
16.75 acres, so it should be enough. And do you know what the acreage is between the cafeteria and the new wing and West Bayou Parkway? Is it enough?
No, I would say it's probably evenly split, just looking aerial wise, just based on, I know when we looked at it to build on that side, Ms. Champagne, please chime in, but, when we built on that, they were gonna build on the side, we were still gonna have.
Didn't get to see them today, but they're, let's put it this way, they have to put dehumidifiers in the locker room because it's just old, it contains moisture,
The
they're
original
just,
plan was to include to keep the gym, but there was no way to keep the gym when we kept looking aesthetically and with the mold and with the rain.
Yeah.
As many times as Ms. Champagne has changed the roof, we've redone the floors. It's
Yeah.
just, it can't accommodate the number of students
Right.
also that the
Correct.
program has built.
was it the plans, if we, I don't know if they were actually brought to drawing or what stage they were in, but was it gonna be a one-story or a multiple story? Okay, two-story.
The second set of classes will be.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm gonna want our team to look at is, you know, we have to address the park. We have to address the traffic in this area.
I was gonna ask.
So we're gonna need room to do that. So probably gonna need to look at a two-story, but also you're gonna have to have room for a gymnasium. I mean, there's gonna have to be place. So I'm just wondering what room we have here. And whatever we have out there as far as athletic fields will probably just end up being
Yeah.
where we're sitting right now.
Yes.
To where everything will be on the back side, the school will be on the front side. So
Yeah.
we can start looking at that and we can start putting some things together, and I'll get with some of these guys here and we just kind of just draw it out and we can kind of put
And
some
also
pencil to it.
Yeah, great.
So I also live in this neighborhood and traffic is a major problem. It goes 1 mile up to Johnston and starts lining up on Johnston. And then you also have Woodvale here that's 2-3 blocks away, and their traffic starts lining up on West Bayou and coming up. So we have a major traffic concern, and we'll have to work with LCG to figure out a better plan.
What's the population, Michelle Pond, right now? What's your max population?
We have currently 920 enrolled.
920.
And do you know how many are on a waiting list?
I do not.
Okay.
We still do have some on the waiting list.
Yeah.
And currently, I think I calculated over 65% of our population is academy. Whereas she would be able to take more, we just don't, she doesn't have the facility. Especially since we removed all the portable buildings. She was able to use it as overflow, but she couldn't do that anymore.
With the massive car line, I'm hoping that with some of the changes in the transportation department, that parents will start trusting our buses and that our bus system is better positioned to get the kids to school. So I'm really hoping that
That'll alleviate some of the traffic.
transportation will help, because over a mile long line is not, this
We
neighborhood
did,
is
in
not
the original
enjoyable.
plan to move forward, we did a cube. We were able to also put a cube in to where we could take the people off of the road. Again, all this, we had asked for years to add, but when we were on the list, and then we did get removed when the tax didn't pass, that's how it happened, this makes
Okay.
sense. When the tax didn't pass, we were removed, they built the cafetorium, and then they took the rest of the money to replace the other 197 portable buildings across the district. And so, in 2015, 2016, that's how they ended up with the 26 wing classroom.
Okay, so I just wanted to repeat that in case y'all can't hear her. The El Jalamo was removed from the list when the tax did not pass, when
That was 2016?
2015.
2015, so when we no longer had the
Yeah.
money to rebuild the school. So that makes sense.
Correct, but they did take the money to at least, across the district, I think in 9 schools, replace 196 portables to give them wings, and that is how Ms. Champagne ended up with the 26 classroom, that opened it, in 20.
And Ms. Champagne, we're very blessed to have her come over from Broussard Middle this year. And, you know, she witnessed, I think, the building of the car rider line on the property that took individuals off of the road and got them onto the property itself to form a car line for middle school. And I hope that we can incorporate something like that here, because it's just, it really alleviates so many problems for the city, for traffic, for safety. If we can have our children not have to, have people clog up the roads, but then also have kids not have to, you know, walk from various points, or try to walk to various points to meet cars on the road and all those kind of things,
So I do, now that you're mentioning that, I'm wondering if there's a way we can work with LCG. There are some parents who come and line up 2 or 3 hours before school gets out. And so they've already created a half-mile line, you know, at, let's see, school gets out at 4 and they're there at 1:30 or 2. And it's a nuisance to the neighborhood, and it's you know, it's just strange to have people sitting outside your house in their car. So I wish the city might consider working with us and trying to keep cars from lining up so early. I mean, I understand 30 minutes before school gets out, but not 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Ms. Mason, I'm gonna reach out to the Mayor President and Reggie Budo, and I'm gonna actually have them kind of make that request from the LPD.
We have some parents who bring lawn chairs and sit outside, and You know, I understand that they're very, you know, it's fun to visit with other parents, but, you know, at the same time, there's neighbors who are just, you know, they're dealing with you sitting in their front yard, so, every day.
Is the church still an active church?
Yes,
A parish, okay.
we can.
Yeah, so we also know there's a, you know, next door is a church, building that, you know, has parishioners that, or members that need to access it at different times too, so we're actually
there is a,
preventing access to that.
There's a Mother's Day out, so, but they get out at 2, I think, 2:30.
But so if we have existing cars already lining up at 1:30 and
there's,
2.
yeah, there's staff there, I mean, we can't use the parking lot.
All right, so any more comment before we vote on the motion? And I'm gonna wait till Mr. Zarmo comes back. Again, and Ms. Champagne was the vice principal here for many years, and so she's intimately familiar with all of the issues at, thank you for this, the facility, and, so we, you know, we're grateful that she's here to help us, you know, get on top of some of those issues that she was aware of, and then, you know, new issues that have emerged so that we can make this year the best for the students until we figure out how to replace this facility. So, thank you. So yeah, I'll wait till Mr. Zorman comes back to vote. Or we have a majority, we can vote without him. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and Mr. DeZarmo is marked absent. Okay. Item 2.6 is a review of the current facility and project list. And so as we stated, there's a current renovation list and a current replacement list. And so if the board would review that list and make any recommendations for the committee to bring to the full board, we'd appreciate that. And just so the public knows, so on the addition renovation list, we have the Judy's Middle School Library and Academic Wing Addition, Acadiana High School Academic Wing Addition, Southside High Home and Visitor Stadium, LJ Alamo renovations, but it's not spelled out in this list what those are. David Thibodeau STEM Magnet Academy Gymnasium, because it was originally a middle school. They're seeking, now that it is a middle school and a high school, to have a second gymnasium. Karen Crowe High School Academy of Information Technology Center, and Lafayette Middle School Library, and then J.W. Falk Elementary, but the renovations aren't spelled out. And the replacements are listed as Northside High and S.J. Montgomery Elementary. And if you've seen our original, our first, maybe it's our February meeting, we met at S.J. Montgomery, and we made a motion to do a drainage study to determine whether or not that property could be used for other purposes, whether it's something to help Lafayette High, or they're just having a lot of problems. So we just need to determine if S.J. Montgomery drainage is something that we need to address and keep that school, or whether we want to replace that school or tear down that school and actually use that property for either Lafayette High or a new elementary school.
Yeah, we're gonna move it to Lafayette.
Yeah, discussion.
Is
Move
that
it to
one that
Lafayette
we
Middle.
were waiting on to hear what the strategic long-range planner is talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are the two that are currently on the replacement list. And with our motion today, again, I think we'd be on the replacement of the existing original facility for LJ Alamo is what our motion would result in. But anybody have any other motions that they want to make with regard to the existing renovation or replacement list?
So I need a point of clarification. Last board meeting, did we?
I think we need to make a motion first before we do
Okay,
something, right?
well, I can't make a motion until I know what happened.
What's the question?
Last meeting, didn't we approve a project for Acadiana
You did some pre-design.
pre-design?
You didn't do pre-design at all. What you did is you appointed a architect.
Architect,
For
okay.
those three schools.
Thank you. I just didn't
So
want
there's no
to,
funding whatsoever
Right.
that's tied to it.
Okay.
So it's just appointing.
just an appointment, okay. Okay, so I would like to make a motion to move the LJ Alamo renovations to right at number, let's just put it in the middle, at number 2 on the list. So it'd be Judy's then LJ Alamo, and then Acadiana, and then Southside.
Second that?
I keep it, I don't want Karen Crowe to go up higher than me. Or Southside. I second your moving LJ, I'm good with that.
Okay. Any public comment?
I'm definitely
Any
on-
board comment? Mr. Zorman?
No, I'm definitely on board with LJ moving up the list. There's some other things on the list I'd like to change, but for this particular meeting, for this moment, that I am definitely okay with LJ.
Or you could do a substitute motion and suggest a revision to the entire list.
Yeah, it'd be another motion. Yeah, no, I'm good
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
I definitely second the motion. I would just like to move the AIT program, right, Justin, Karen Crowe?
Yeah.
I was gonna move that up the list, but that can be discussed later.
Or a second motion. Josh, any other comments?
No, I'm not in support of it.
I'd like to make a motion to move.
We have to approve this one, right?
Oh, everybody.
Unless he wants to do a substitute motion to
Okay.
revise. Okay.
I'm not doing substitute. I'm gonna do it
Okay.
separately.
Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. So LJ Alamo renovation/replacement will now be second on, or our recommendation of the board will be to move it to second on the additions renovations list.
Committee members, you guys are gonna want us to make that as far as the board will have to approve this. So
Oh, absolutely.
Correct.
This is our
Yeah,
recommendation.
this is our recommendation to the full board. Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to move Karen Crowe right behind LJ. Move it to number 3.
okay. Motion to move the Karen Crowe High Academy of Information Technology Center by Mr. Zormo. Is there a second?
Shall we do it?
Yeah,
Second.
Second by Mr. Edmond.
gotta get as far as up as we can. I wanted to be first, but,
Any public comment?
Greg?
Sorry, Matt?
So the list is
Mr. Dugas?
prioritized, I just want to get that clarity. So the list as it appears is prioritized?
Well, I would assume that, yes, but,
It is.
can we get clarification, Superintendent? Yeah, the
It
list is in order of how we're going to prioritize our funding, so we want to make sure that if this is a higher priority than these others, that we're reflecting that on the list.
Okay, thank you.
No, not over this.
No,
Yeah.
that's why I moved it, that's why I motioned to 3rd.
Okay, any
But
board
I mean, that's the
comment?
board still has to approve.
Okay, I want to make a comment. Though I need, everyone on this list needs this, but in terms of priority, I feel that it cannot go above Judy's or LJ or Acadiana or Southside. Southside doesn't even have a football field or anything, and having a field for a high school, all 7 of our high schools should have a football field. It is unfair that they cannot build their culture. I mean, so much revolves around athletics. Kids come to school, yes, to learn, but they also come to enjoy being together, and so many things revolve around football and track and soccer and all the extracurriculars. And if you don't have a home stadium or a home anything, you have to go to somebody else's place. So to me, I can't support the academy going above the athletics at Southside.
So I'm on board with building Southside of football, like, to take care of that, because I do agree, it's part of the high school, enjoyment, it's part of the high school experience. But my problem was that school, when it was built recently, or it's one of the most recent schools, they could have easily had built it then. And so, the program at Karen Crowe is something that's we depend on that program quite a bit. So I'm not totally against the South Side, because I do, being, a sports kind of person, I do believe it is part of the experience of high school. I don't have an answer for that, but, I'm not totally against it, I guess, and some people were, but I'm not totally against it.
Mr. Root?
Sorry, Superintendent, you
So,
said?
and again, I'm just gonna speak from what I see things, and again, it's completely up to this committee and the board. I will tell you that we are under fire every day, and I am scared to death of when the numbers are gonna come out in October 1. That what we're gonna lose in that Youngsville area. Everyone knows what they are building in Youngsville. They're coming to Broussard. They're gonna come to Scott. and they've already gone to the Carenville area. What I'm saying is that the one thing that I'm afraid of is that we don't have facilities in that area to entice and to keep kids going to that school. Again, I understand your thoughts about this, but when it's all said and done, we lose kids, we're gonna be laying people off.
Yeah.
We're gonna be closing facilities. Listen, and when it's all said and done, we're gonna find out, y'all call me on October 1, and I'll tell you exactly what those numbers are gonna look like. And it may be very shocking to you what we're seeing, because we don't know what kids are coming, kids are going, but we'll have a pretty good idea when they draw that number at October 1.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna ask y'all to take that in consideration when it comes to these different things. And I will also say this, I don't know what happened 9 years ago, 8 years ago with Southside.
Right.
Here's what I'll tell you, there are kids at that school that have no clue about what happened.
Yeah.
And when I talk to the mayor and I talk to the council members, I pledge to them that, hey, we're gonna do our part to make sure we take care of kids no matter where it is. And if it would be in Carencro, we would take care of Carencro. If it would be somewhere else, we would. And we are doing that. We're doing that at several different places. So I just want y'all to know that from my standpoint, we are nervous as hell as far as numbers are concerned right now. And we just gotta make sure that we have a plan moving forward.
And to clarify what the superintendent's talking about, the charter school in Youngsville has built right now it's a 2,000 seat stadium with a full track out there and a little athletic facility attached to it. And that is, that's phase 1. Phase 2 is actually, it's gonna be the largest stadium in Lafayette Parish. They have a press box as well. Largest stadium in Lafayette Parish. It'll have 4,000 seats. It's a fine facility. If you haven't driven by it, believe me, it's attractive, and it will. And ARCA has expanded this year to include 1,200 new students. That's 648 new high school students. So 648 students in Youngsville are looking at a brand new football stadium, and then they're also looking at a high school that doesn't have and they're both new facilities. So it's not like they have an old school and new football stadium. They have a new school and a new football stadium. I'll also say it's very attractive for parents to be able to put your kindergartner for your 12th grader at the same facility. You don't have to worry about bus transportation for a kindergartner versus a middle schooler versus a 12th grader if they're all at the same facility. There's before care, there's after care, they feed the kids for free. This is our biggest competitor. And as Mr. Touchette said, they have already approved, without even Vermilion opening yet, Bessie's already approved Vermilion having a high school. So you have kids in that area that are gonna be also drawn to go to the Vermilion Charter School, because that will be a brand new facility with athletic facilities that are also gonna be built. And Bessie is asking this August, and it's gonna be approved, that Broussard get a charter school for K through 8th. We all know that when the charter schools open K through 8, they're gonna find a way to get your 9th through 12th graders too. So what he's saying is very legitimate. I think that we've all seen it from Como, and we may see it now with Southside. We're gonna have attrition in those areas if we don't put more emphasis into that facility. So I think that's a legitimate concern. While I think athletics shouldn't be our priority,
I'm sold.
it's part of a well-rounded education, and kids are in athletics. They want athletics. Parents want to be there. It's part of the culture. It's part of the support of the school. It does bring an entire vibe to a school. So I agree that while it's not our focus, primary focus, it is part of
the high school
experience all around. So for that reason, I'm gonna vote no to that motion.
We're gonna pull the motion anyway.
Okay, so Mr. Zormer, you're pulling the motion?
Yes.
Okay, so that motion is off the table. So as of now, we will also, I will put a new motion, or I guess, can I put a motion on the table?
As a chair, I think so.
As a chair? I apologize, I didn't bring my Robert's rules.
No.
I had a motion for us to
I don't
get,
think
from the staff, a full reporting of what it would be to add the additional phase 2 to Southside at 28 classrooms.
Okay.
Can you say?
Yes. Okay. I would like to make a motion to have the staff examine what it would take to add 28 classrooms to Southside.
The phase 2.
Phase 2.
Complete the phase 2 construction of
Yeah.
Southside.
Okay, the phase 2 construction for Southside. Just to examine what it would take I realize we don't have the money to do this right now.
I'll
but-
second that just for,
And the
just for research.
Well, we need to do public comment, so
Okay.
public comment. Okay, board comment, and I'll say why I asked Ms. Mason to help me with that motion, is that because we know that, we have an existing facility that's already half empty, which is Como High School, which was originally built to house students in Youngsville, Milton, and Broussard, or to serve students in Youngsville, Milton, and Broussard. We no longer need a facility to serve Youngsville, Broussard, and Milton if they have their own high school. And right now they have two. They have our high school and they have another public high school option. And if Broussard charter is approved, let's say when Broussard charter is approved based on the information I've received, and they expand their high school, we're again not gonna need another high school facility. So I'd like to see if the original purpose can be served from Como, moving or having those students be consolidated into Southside High School just for exploratory reasons.
So the reason I made the motion was Southside has the highest enrollment for our high schools, and there's a demand there that we haven't been able to meet. And if we get the stadium, and we will have more people choosing to go there. So I think that trying to serve the people where they want to be served, which seems to be Southside in that area, we have to be prepared. And so, but like Kate was saying, this is just examining what it would take. So,
Getting fiscal numbers.
and compared to Karen Crow, the numbers are much higher at Southside than Karen Crow. So just trying to serve the most students, in our parish.
So we'll ask the board to, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
we'll ask the board to make a full motion on the board floor to ask staff to explore and provide estimates for an expansion of the existing drawn-out phase 2 of Southside and what that would take to complete that, as well as whether that will serve the number of students that we anticipate may need to be served if we didn't have 2 high schools in that area. So now I'll take a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, passed unanimously. Anything else?
Who
Nope.
seconded that motion?
Chad is on.
Chad.
Yeah, Chad is on there. Okay, item 2.7, community input. Anybody in our here present have anything they'd like to add to any statements or any observations, comments, anything they'd like to add to the meeting? Okay, hearing none. Item 2.8, any business input, any business leaders here have any input on anything discussed today or anything in general with regard to facilities in Lafayette Parish? Okay, hearing none. Item 2.9, discussion of location for our next meeting. Yes, Mr. Edmond?
I would like to, put a motion on the floor to go back to Karen Crow High, being able to reschedule.
Oh, great idea.
So motion
Second.
for Karen Crow High for our next location.
Second, Hannah second.
Second by Ms. Mason. Any public comment? We're voting on whether we hold our next facility and long-range planning meeting at Karen Crow High School. Okay, any board comment? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Okay, opposed. Y'all, sorry. I haven't eaten yet. Okay, so we're gonna adjourn. And Miss Chrissy, what is the date of the next long-range planning committee meeting?
The next meeting is scheduled for September 3rd, Tuesday, September 3rd. the
Tuesday,
day after
September
Labor
3rd.
Day.
Yep, day after
Labor
Labor
Day,
Day.
yeah.
So public is invited, 11:30 tour of the facility, which again has the, our Karen Crow Technology Institute, which is fabulous, and the high school, and then 12:05 will be this meeting. So, thank you. Thank you guys. Meeting adjourned.